Well, welcome back. This is part 2 of a video. The first part will be linked in the description. And in that first part, we took the old existing bike apart. And this second part, we're going to be taking the parts that we took off that bike and putting them on the new bike. So let me go over a brief recap of what the system looks like. It's all apart on my bench over here. And then we'll start putting parts on the new bike. We'll get it wrapped up on this video. Let's get to work. Okay, here it is. Here's the entire electric bike system. You've got your battery pack. Then you've got your motor up here. All this stuff is wired to your brushless DC motor controller. Here's the reluctor and sensor. So when you start pedaling, it'll say send me power. And then you've got your brakes with their micro switches here and here. So when you want to stop, it says stop sending me power. This is your monitor, and this is your monitor controller that turns this guy on. We're not plugged into the battery, so I can't turn it on. Then you've got a couple of grips. This was the right hand, and this is the left hand grip, and then extra hardware here. So now we've got all this stuff laid out. We're going to bring the other bike in, and we're going to start seeing how it all fits together. Now, kind of the tricky part is going to be this rear tire and gears. Now, the new bike is a 7-speed, and this has 7 rear gears on the back, but there is a difference, and that has to do with the shaft assembly here on this. So let me figure that out, and I'll bring you back, and I'll let you know what I figured out for getting this guy mounted on that bike over there. Okay, I took the other tire off already, and I'm getting ready to drop this one here on. One thing I didn't think about when I was doing all this is the pitch on the chain, but it appears that it's okay. One thing I also noticed is this axle is a lot heavier than the axle on the one that I took off, but it's got flat spots cut in it, so I think with a little Tanya Harding persuasion, we'll be able to get that in. Of course, now that I've set it, I think I got it stuck already. One of the things I need to do is, when I dropped it on, there's a gold washer here, and that washer needs to be on the other side. So I gotta figure out how to get this, pop it back off, slide this over, and get this side. Once I get this side kind of laying in here, I'll go fight the other side. So, okay, I've done it. I've got the back tire on. Basically, the blue frame here, the teal frame here, I had to open it up. I had to get it wider because this is pretty thick. Standard install over here. I've got a washer in here, and I've got the washer with a little finger on it in here. Got that tightened down. That's holding it in place. And then over here, I had to put another washer back up in there. I haven't tightened this down yet, but I'll get to that in a minute. And then also, the derailleur bracket kept getting in my way, so I had to loosen that screw there, move it over a little bit, and I got it in. So I was concerned that the axle would be too thick, but it worked out okay. And I was concerned that the gear spacing would be off, but I don't know, looks pretty good to me. So anyway, that's it. Next step, we're gonna get on to the reluctor wheel, so let's get that installed. Okay, we're getting ready to put the reluctor wheel on, and I've been playing with it, making sure I understand how it works. First thing you do is you throw it on the ground. That's not correct. But a couple orientation things. One, the arrow points towards the front of the bike. That tells you which way to put this on. Now, when I put the crank on, I did a dry fit earlier, and there were some washers, and I stacked them up in here, trying to get rid of the gap. And what happened is that pushed the reluctor wheel up against this, and it wouldn't turn. So what I've had to do now, my thoughts are, you put this guy on, you get it seated, but not so it's touching those spacer things, and it still turns. And what I'm going to do, great, my super glue is leaking, so I better hurry up here, is I'm going to put a couple drops of super glue after I get it all over myself and all over my gloves. But the good thing is it stuck on my gloves and not on me. Okay, so we got that opened. I don't need the cap anymore. These are single-use guys. So put this on, run this in, and I'm just going to put 4 dots on the 4 flat spots. So, let me rephrase that. I'm going to pour a gallon of super glue on this, and hopefully it won't stick to anything that I don't want it to stick to. And if it does, well, I'll fix it. So there you go. Now the reluctor spins, and it's not binding up in there. So the next thing to do will be to put the crank on, tighten it up, and then I think let's get this crank on, and you're going to want it opposite of this back crank here. So we've got that on, and we'll just grab the nut. There it is. Run it in. Almost done here. There we go. Then we'll run this in, tighten her up. There we go. So the crank's installed, the reluctor sensor's installed, it's not going anywhere, and we've glued the reluctor magnets here, the reluctor wheel, onto the crank. So I think this is good to go. Yeah, we still need to go through and zip tie everything up, but we'll take care of that after a bit. Okay, we'll put the DC motor controller back here where it's going to be mounted, and that's just going to sit there for now. And then up front, we'll just lay everything in up here, and then we'll start to break it out. So here's the monitor. It's going to go here in the middle, and the monitor controller will be setting somewhere over on this side, on the left-hand side. We'll put the throttle over on the right-hand side, and then we'll just put a brake on each side. Now, you cannot use the brakes that come with the bike simply because they don't have the micro switch in them. You need that micro switch in them, so when you hit the brakes, it stops, it tells the motor controller to stop sending power to the rear tire. Okay, let's get this stuff mounted up. Okay, we're up here in the front, and this is kind of like the last area we need to work at. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to kind of clean up this area here and get the monitor and the monitor controller on. Then I'll move over to this side, and I think this side just gets the upgraded brakes, and then once we get over here, there's the throttle, the upgraded brakes, and the shifters here, and the grips here. So there's a lot going on over here, but first let's focus on this area right here. I'll get rid of the reflector, get the monitor and the monitor controller installed, and I'll bring you back when I got that all done. Okay, we've got the monitor installed, and then we've got the monitor controller right here next to it. Next, let's go on, let's take all this stuff here off and work on this side here. And I think this side only gets a brake, so that should go fairly quickly. Okay, in order to get these brakes off, I've got it loosened up, that's good, but I need to go down there, and it's kind of hard to see, and undo the cable down there, which will free cable up, so I'll be able to move this over and pop that out. There you go. That gave us enough cable now that I should be able to slide this. See how much further it goes out? And of course, it's probably on the other side. There should be a notch here. Yep, see that notch right there? So what you want to do, let me run this back in. I may have to get a little more cable. Hold on, let me get some needle nose. And the thing is, you want to leave the cable in because you're going to reuse it. Hold on a second. There's that split. Oh, there we go. See this here? All these adjusting things here. You line them all up, and that should allow you to, there you go. You get the cable out. Not like that. Much easier. There, and that brake is gone. So we do not need this brake. Now, there is a left and a right brake handle, and it's mostly due to ergonomics, and so you don't see all this ugly stuff here. So this one here goes on the left side, and then line the stuff back up. And this doesn't have the fancy slot on it, so I just got to do it the other way. Slide this back as far as you can. Line it up in all these slots. Oops, and it slipped on me. Darn it. And I don't want to take it off the other end because it's swaged on, and I do not want to cut that. So you just got to fiddle with it a bit. And it keeps slipping on me because it's, you know, slippery. And gotta get this guy way like that. Yep, bump the camera. Hold on, I'll get it. I only have to do it twice. That goes like that. Well, let's do it like this. We'll drop this in there and back in those slots, and there you go. Oops, that turned. Darn it. I almost was done, and then it slipped. There we go. So now clock that a different way, and we are good to go. And there's your brake. And we'll do the adjusting everything at the end. So we'll get this guy out of the way, and then we put this grip back on. The one that we got that came with the bike, we'll put it right back on, okay? And this should just pop right back on. High-tech method here. There we go. And then we'll get all this stuff here lined up, and of course the bell, and then this side will be done. Okay, I got this here loosened up. It's literally just an Allen screw there. So, but what I'd like to do, yep, good. I can get it all the way off, and then that will allow me to get this brake handle off. But like we did last time, let's just raise that up, spin that around. Nah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to loosen up the back. Well, maybe not. Let's see if we can just pop it out of there. Look at that, look at that. We almost got it. Oh, it's because I'm not lined up. So close. I'll just pop this guy out right here. I'll probably still have to, I went back inside. Probably still have to, so close. Probably still have to disconnect the brakes in the back to get this off, but of course my hand is blocking everything. Trying to get the, there's a cut there, And I have to get all these cuts here to line up. There we go. So I've got a groove there, and it just pops right out. Okay, so there's the brake, it's gone. And we'll bring up the new brake, which, I don't remember the stack up on this. I think it was brake, yeah, because it's got a nice reach on it. And then throttle control, make sure it's going in the right direction. Is that right? No, I'm gonna put the shifter on next. It's kind of wound in all this stuff here, and I want to try to shorten that up a bit. You could always throw a tie wrap on it. Okay. Huh, did I make a mistake here? Let's bring it around the other side. And we come this way, and we come over here, and it hung up on something, and there we go. So we've got the brake, the shifter, there we go, the gear select, I should say, I don't know what you call it. Yep, I'm still not happy with that routing. And we will bring it over like this, and like that. And then we'll bring on the throttle control, like that. And I'm gonna work this stuff as far over this way as possible. I'll put the grip back on here, and then we'll just start bringing everything back over and tightening it up. That's solid. Thumb control's right there, shifter's right there, and brake. Make sure I can still reach that brake. Yep, brake right there. Alrighty, let me get all this stuff tightened down, and I'll bring you back. Okay, well, off camera, I did all the wiring. It's just zip tying, and you could do this any way you want. This is the way I did it. I mounted the battery pack back here. I put the DC controller on top of it, literally just zip tied it up the same way it was on the original bike. So there you go. Well, here it is. I've got it all packaged and tie wrapped up. And I'll just give you a brief overview. There's the motor, battery, motor controller, control monitor head, and the monitor controller. To make it run, just do that. It comes up. I've got it set on 2. I took it for a little rip on 3, and it actually popped the wheelie. So kind of have to be a little careful with this one. Turn it off, and there you go. And that's it. It came out actually looking pretty nice. I tried to do the wiring along with where the brake cables were and stuff. Now I'll get a cover for this just to hide all this, but I think overall it came out pretty nice. I'm gonna see if I can get a chest harness on and take you guys for a little ride.